ladies and gentlemen, fighting piracy and fighting counterfeiting is above all a question of competitiveness of our companies and generally European industry. The Commission has initiated very concrete actions. The Commission is promoting the follow the money approach through the establishment of EU-level dialogues between right holders, intermediaries, to achieve agreement on the voluntary basis. An excellent example of these such voluntary good practices at EU level is the Memorandum of Understanding that will be signed today. The Commission stands fully behind the process and is taking leadership. Civil society and consumer organizations are committed for now. It is now time to see the same level of commitments from platforms and brands. We need to make sure really that the innovations, creativity, originality in Europe is rewarded, will be rewarded, and will be stimulated.
The MOU is the one key step that we need to take now, that we have taken now, especially really to connect all the stakeholders, the payment industry together with the advertisement and the intellectual property owners. Because there are so many stakeholders out there, so many different payment schemes that need to be addressed, that it is crucial to have one hub actually, one starting point where we can really address all these questions and all these problems.
Follow the money is for industry a very important methodology to follow, because we think that indeed IP enforcement, brand protection, anti-counterfeiting is a global business, and in the end you are indeed trying to find the money, because that's where counterfeiters are after in the end.
So far we have studied the impact in 7 sectors, and we are talking about losses in terms of sales of something like 60 billion euros.
The IPR infringement is something that is growing. We can certainly help in gathering the data to measure the effectiveness of the Memorandum of Understanding. And so we want to be, as always, a partner of the European Commission in this exercise.
We have the major platforms serving Europe that are on it, and a lot of very high-profile brands. And we got very strong support for the inclusion of these measurement indices, the key performance indicators in the MOU. And I think we got support also, which was interesting, both from the Parliament and from the civil rights body, at least that we're approaching this in a transparent manner.
On the content of the MOU, I think on the one hand it's extremely good to see that, for example, the issue of the abusive use of notice and takedown messages has been recognized as a problem, and that there's a commitment from rights holders to use the notice and takedown procedure responsibly. When we are talking about enforcement of intellectual property law, it's important to realize that the enforcement must go hand in hand with solid substantive law. We do have a European trademark, we do have a European patent law, we do not have a European copyright law, and I think this is really something we need to work on.
Without trust, all the expanded trade, the new jobs, the economic growth would be lost.
Alibaba has a very rigorous approach to fighting counterfeiting. We have a very large reactive program where we participate in notice and takedown requests, but we have also a lot of preventative measures and proactive measures. We see the MOU as an opportunity for more collaboration, more information sharing, more education of both consumers, merchants, and platforms, and understanding how best to help rights holders protect their rights.
We deploy lots of effort and lots of money, obviously, to fight again counterfeit. It's less income for us, as we shut down every year thousands of merchants, but we think that on a long term, that's the way to fight against counterfeit, and that's the way to work in a faithful and a loyal marketplace.
That's why we're all here today, to provide forward-thinking leadership and promote a collaborative approach to combating counterfeit and other forms of IP theft in modern, flexible ways. In this, the US and Europe have shared values, and shared interests.
There's really a convergence of threat factors that we're trying to address in this conference. It's everywhere from supporting creative and innovative industries, supporting jobs, but as well as protecting consumer public health and safety, raising up the labor conditions and the environmental impacts that illicit trade has on not only your country, my country, but all nations across the globe.